What's good in the neighborhood? Beautiful people, what's going on? Look, man, I'm gonna take a second because unfortunately I'm getting to the gym way later than I intended on. But I'm gonna tell y'all this. See, people change the narratives on everything. So I'm gonna give y'all some realistic before my fucking phone goes out. As y'all know, it goes out. So I can't ever do any of those hour lives anymore. This shit lasts about 10 minutes. So let me speed it up. But look, any talk about Denzel is ridiculous. I'm not saying that just because he's my dog, but I'm just saying that based off of fact. Craig Spice, my brother, what's going on? John, what's going on now? But I'm talking about just Denzel and on this one anyway. And I'll go through the Mandela thing. But this is the thing I tell y'all about these clowns in the bully world. And I do mean clowns. And yes, I was turned. Yeah, I actually had a couple of drinks before I even went to the gym tonight. So ain't no telling how this gym workout gonna turn out. I left my best when I had me a couple in me. So, but I'm gonna tell y'all this: Denzel is amongst the leaders and probably the leader in most American bully champions ever produced. And those people, what's going on, Amanda? Jesus, Mike, Nate. You know, those people who don't want to count other registries, that's where he falls behind that. But I don't think when we talk about, look at the Nationals champions. He's a Nationals champion winner. He's a lot of other dogs. I mean, several other dogs who've been national champion winners have his blood. The great Bashar, the greatest breeder of all time, used my blood and fucked it up by adding French Bulldog and Bulldog to it and lying about the pedigrees. But that's something else, and, he needed that shit. But the reason why I'm just talking crazy now, but the reason why I laugh at it is because I'll start off with Denzel, but think about this. Now, there have been a lot of dogs that I've loved over the years, but think about it in terms of national championship winners. Now, it's only been so many nationals winners, right? Denzel is one of those nationals winners. But think about in terms, and I'm not throwing shade at the rest of the nationals winners, trust me. But what I'm saying is, think about this. He's the nationals winner. He's the first ever 3 registry champion. But he's amongst the leaders in champions produced. And then to top that all off, his mom is the first ever champion. And his grandfather is the second ever champion in the American bully community. Now, when you think about this, every facet that you could talk about a dog in, pedigree. His pedigree is got to be A1 gold when you're talking about Halle and Paco. Then you turn around and you look at it, 3 of his brothers were champions. So the lineage proves itself again. Productions. Denzel has produced his ass off, champion after champion after champion. They don't like him, but they like his blood and they like his sons and they want to use his sons. Then you turn around and you look at the ring. He won the Nationals. He won 3 other championships. And for the record, y'all, Denzel has only been shown a dozen times. So he's won all of those championships. I'm talking about 3 different registry championships and a Nationals, only being shown a dozen times. This is truly one of the greatest dogs that ever came across this breed. It's no weak point that you can talk about in his resume, including the fact that he is now pushing up on 12 years old. So he lived a long life. He produced his ass off during this long life, champion after champion, grand champion. Amongst his history-setting sons is the fact that the first ever dog to win 3 grand championships is his son. Keep in mind, I told you he was the first dog to ever win 3 championships. Keep in mind, I told you his mom was the first dog to ever win a championship. The first dog to ever win a championship on 2 different continents is his son. So when you get haters who try to talk crazy, this is why I don't get in those conversations, because they don't want to go dog for dog. They don't want to just put up dogs and let's show dogs. Y'all see me, I still put them up and I smack them across the head. They can't fuck with Denzel. That's that. We're going to leave that there. Then you go on to Mandela. Now, when I made Mandela, It was a Denzel daughter, which happens to be the littermate sister to Magoo. A lot of people talk shit, oh, how is this going to work? How is this going to work? I took Bistro. I'm just going to say this for the record. You know what I mean? I took Bistro, which I respect Rob Lee's program and everything. But when we talk about Bistro sons, which Bistro son really outranks Mandela? As far as being a beast, the bone, everything else. Now, Productions, there's some of his sons that might outrank him in Productions. But when you look at the dog, he ranks right there with all of Bistro's best sons. And I did one breeding with Bistro. Now, when you look at Mandela is already producing champions on the high level. Arguably, he already did something that no other dog has done by producing a litter with three puppies in that litter that champed out in multiple registries, which is 3 registries, 3 dogs. 2 of those dogs had 2 championships by the time they were 11 months. This is what Mandela has done. Not to mention other championship dogs, which now he's over 10 champions, and he's only had, I think Mandela's total litter count now is right around 10 or 11 litters. So I'm going to tell you the most interesting thing when you get people to start hating about Mandela. This is the interesting thing. It wasn't luck. I told y'all what was going to happen before that. Those who are around remember I told y'all what I was pulling for. It was a dog named Boom Boom in the pedigree that I was pulling for. It's amazing, and that's just a blessing. Trust me, I was going more for the look, not the champagne with the white head. He actually went right looking like Boom Boom. But it was playing with genetics. Now, the funniest thing about Mandela now is why I say he's going to be a better producer than Denzel is he's producing bigger bone. He's producing the muscle. He's producing the true American bully look. The thing I don't like about Mandela to me is that he came in with some of that loose skin. I don't like loose skin. But let me tell you about the haters. Now, these people go into the ring and they show dogs with high rears, loose skin, crooked feet, can't breathe, can't move, everything else. And then when they decide they want to talk about Mandela, they talk about, oh, look at his skin. Which is not like he's a Shar-Pei or anything. He's just not tight. But they don't want to talk confirmation. So then the next thing they do to try to sort of throw shade or make up a lie. But they love bulldogs. They cheat and use bulldogs. That's why they go against, all grades. They say he looks like a bulldog. I thought bully was everything. So it's a double standard because how can bully be everything, but when I produce a dog that's so bully that you have to lie to say that he's part of bulldog, and I didn't use Bistro, I used the bulldog even though it's DNA testing. Now you don't want to give it, he's too bully. But when y'all make bulldogs, come on, man. So what I'm telling y'all is this. My brother Val, owner of the record breaker and the dog that I think is the best dog in the world today, Mufasa, blessed me and allowed me to use him, and I did a breeding, and we're going to wait and see what happens. But I promise y'all this, when you play with genetics and you do dogs the right way, you don't have to sell the American bully breed out. You can make dogs that make the haters jealous in every facet, and you do it the right way. The one thing I'll tell y'all about my dogs, and I'm just speaking for myself this time, not the American bully community, I will show you every dog. I've showed y'all Mandela from the side angles. I've showed the dog moving. Denzel did his thing and went out everywhere. The puppies that I produce clean dogs. I produce dogs that are true to the American bully standard. This is no argument. When we get off into anything else, this is like the Jedi mind trick where they try to make us believe that we can talk about other things and get away from the fact. The only thing that this breed comes down to is certain dogs are true American bullies and certain dogs are not. Certain dogs are willing to go through all the DNA testing and the whole route to prove where they come from. Certain people are not. I think it's a great discredit to have all of these so-called bully breeders, lying and throwing and muddying the water with the bullshit. We know what the American bully is. This is why I post the Mufasas and the Rugers and the Bears and all of the different dogs that I post. My man Bobo Starsky over there doing his thing, my man Brian Robertson doing his thing. Like I said, Val out there with Mufasa and Oscar Gomez and Carlton Pratt, you name them, I can put them out there. I like what Nikki Westbrook is doing. I give people love. It's not about hate, it's about truth. You know what I mean? You can hate on the dogs, and I talked about my dogs in this, and I'm not going to talk about their dogs to do them a disservice, but you can hate on the dogs all you want to. Mufasa is big. I don't know if he's an XL or not. I think he champed out as a standard, but he's a big bad mother. He's a big dog. Big, muscular, confident, beautiful dog, man. And I mean, and since you brought up Mufasa, people are wondering why I'm always so high on Mufasa. He's a put-together dog, man. He has beautiful movement. He has the top line. He has the muscle. He has a true American Bully look. He has a true American Bully pedigree. And one of the best things I like about Mufasa is he has a American Bully attitude. I fell in love with that dog on something that wasn't visual, as far as looking at him in the physical sense. It was when I seen Mufasa go in the ring and I seen other dogs start to bow their heads. I said, this is an American Bully. The dog is so confident and has such a powerful presence that he literally was currying dogs out with his presence. With his presence. This is an American Bully. We went from a stage where dogs, if you would have ever seen Gotti was like that. Gotti would just walk in the ring and muscles, well, not really the ring, but when he walked, just muscles popping. Cairo was a very aggressive dog. Remy was a very intimidating dog. You know what I mean? Monster J was a very intimidating dog. King Lion, a damn maniac. But these dogs had an attitude that even when it was a controlled aggression, they walked in the ring and it was just like, oh, that's a dog. Paco was very mild-mannered and playful, but he was still very, very strong in nature. Hallie was a dominant bitch. Hallie was somewhat on the side of, I won't say aggressive, but confrontational. And, but, I mean, even Denzel's little ass. I mean, he just said, he just roughed up a little stray dog about 4 or 5 months ago. The American Bully is a powerful breed. Stop talking about all of this companion shit. The roots of the companion comes from the fact that we were trying to make them companion dogs because in their era, they were being banned and we faced a lot of BSL stuff. This didn't mean that the dog was supposed to be a cur and a lap dog. This was a big, powerful animal that represented something. Y'all have killed the very nature of the American Bully with these lies and the innuendos and the bullshit. These crooked-legged dogs that can't breathe and can't move and are obviously mixed with English bulldogs and all this shit. These are not American Bullies. If you want to see an American Bully, pull up Oscar Gomez's yard. That is a very, extreme within inside the breed type of look that he produces. Tons of muscle. Carlton Pratt produces a very wide chest, big muscular dog. You don't have to look at my shit. Look at other people's stuff who has it. I've been seeing Nikki putting down some good dogs. Like I said, my man Bobo Starsky keeps some good dogs in his yard, and they're very clean. That's the key. Confirmation. You can produce Bully, but produce confirmation. Produce a dog that's true to the American Bully standard. Not an English bulldog mix. We don't owe it to y'all to keep bowing down to this. And this is why the fight is getting thicker and thicker and people are being more vocal about it, because those are not American Bullies. You can't just come along and take somebody's work for the last damn near 30 years and then change it because you feel like you can sell some stuff. If you want to make something else, go destroy somebody else's name. But the American Bully is a powerful dog with confidence, athleticism, drive, great conformation, tight skin, the whole look. It don't look like a bulldog. It looks like, like they say, a pit bull on steroids. Very cheeky, big, broad head, but it's tight. Stop destroying what we made for y'all profit. And that includes all you sellout son of a bitches who was there from the start and should know better. The American Bully, if you want to see American Bully, go pull up Mufasa. That's an American Bully. That's an American Bully. Go pull up Ruger. Go pull up Bison. These are American Bully, top quality dogs that can move and do everything you want. And the one thing I tell you the truth is that, you know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm going to tell you what, BJ. Oscar is an anomaly in the fact that he don't, right now, you saying that he might have to go outside his yard, but think about the everything you seeing him produce, he keeps producing at a high level. I don't know. I've been thinking that Oscar was supposed to go out of his yard 10 years ago. Because but somehow he tweaks it just enough. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's opposite of what I do. About every the way my span has been going, about every 7 or 8 years, I go to another part of the Edge family to bring stuff in. And now I'm going to Oscar's yard by way of Oscar and Val this time. But some people can run their blood for decades and just make small tweaks here and there. And if you notice with Oscar, every now and then, he'll put a dab of something else in there. And then he line breeds it again. A dab of something else and line breeds it again. And the thing of it is it's almost like if it's not broke, don't fix it. With me, the reason why I went to fixing it, and I'll be honest with everything. The thing that I actually saw happening with my dogs that I didn't like was something else that happened with Marco Suarez. The dogs started getting too small. You know, I went from a point to where my dogs were consistently averaging 75 to 85 pounds down to about 50 to 60 pounds. Very tight, very beautiful dogs, like very good conformation, but they were getting smaller. And this is where I said, okay, it's time to go to either the Excalibur, the Remy, you know, some of the stuff that Pratt's has with the Nemesis and the Kamali. But I needed more size, and I knew that those dogs, because of the facial features, would keep the look. And we were all in the same family, so they were meant to be bred together. And that's why I went that way. But some people, I'm telling you, and Oscar just has been a magician like that. I agree with you. I've seen Oscar breed this way for a long time, and I'm like, how the hell does he keep doing it? But he does it over and over again, and his quality isn't lacking. He's locked in a look, and if you look at the structure, you know, by way, you know, you look at Romeo, Punisher, Mufasa, the structure is very, very good, 9 out of 10. Oscar will tell you he's got some little things he's tweaking, but it's very, very good. This is our goal, you know, this is our goal. So, you know what I mean? It's without a doubt, Nate, Oscar, in my opinion, is the best breeder in American Bully history who has kept it real as far as the American Bully. I think Sean from True Tank, as far as being a magician and pulling shit out his ass to make some nice ass breedings left and right, is probably the best at breeding, just making some crazy breedings. As far as consistency, longevity, and staying with a program, I believe that Oscar Gomez and now his family, because he has a whole family that's working with him that includes Val from Seabad and many of the family that he's put together with his group, that, you know, they are putting together something special because they are running the blood in a way that it is truly becoming a line. A lot of people in the American Bully community have said, oh, I got a line. People have called my blood a line. No, my blood is not a line. I think we won't be a line for at least another 10 years. You know, from the way I see it, we're doing some good things. I'm not mad at what we've done, but I needed to change because of the loss, you know, that loss in size. It changed direction. And I had a vision back in the day that I wanted to be a strictly, you know, short pocket type of breeder. And as I dealt with more and more pockets, I started to get an understanding that with the pockets, what came about is that these dogs, you know what I mean, suffer. A lot of the pockets are suffering from Down syndrome and other things. I tell you, Mr. Suarez, the thing that I say with Marco, and Marco is a good friend of mine, is one of the best people that you'll ever meet anywhere. What's going on, Rex? The thing about it is that hey, Gilbert, man, I was looking. I hit you up. I'll let you know about that. We might have to do something different, but she has hormone issues. But I'll tell you what, one of the things with Marco is this. Marco ran into the same thing that I did. Marco was at a point where his stuff was up here, and it was very, very good, and it was very, very solid, and it was on point. And what happened is he line bred so tough that you saw the dogs lose a lot of size. For those who don't know, if you've seen Paco pushed the borderline of standard. Paco was like 16 and a half inches. Very, very, I never got a real weight on him because Marco was very secretive like he is now. But Paco was heavy, man. If Little Row, I had Little Row, and Little Row was about an inch taller than Paco, but I had Little Row weighing about 73, 74 pounds, which was the highest that he was ever at. And Paco was a lot thicker than Row. So if I'm guessing, Paco was well into the 80s. and 16 and a half inches. He was a bigger dog. What happened is when they started line breeding the hell out of Paco, you started seeing very small dogs. Some of the smallest dogs I seen off of Paco was Bamboo and Paquita. And these two dogs were literally like 30-something pounds. And it was line breed. And Marco, with his line breeding and somewhat inbreeding at times, he locked the Paco look in like crazy. That brindle was locked in. The look in the face was locked in. But what happened is that the size really left him for a while. And that was the thing where I would rate Oscar above Marco is Oscar has been able to consistently keep a size and a type of dog throughout the years. If you look back at Oscar's dogs 10 years ago, they're sort of the same as they are now. You know, he's refined them where Mufasa and Romeo are probably like just super examples of refining and making a dog a better show dog version of what he had. But it's still very similar to what he had originally. Whereas Marco went down where he had the super small dogs. And I've noticed with some of his later breedings, you know, and his skill level, he's bringing them back up. So that's the only difference. But Marco Suarez would definitely always be one of the top breeders in American Bully history and one of the best people, man. He's very knowledgeable and he's a good dude, and the game would not be what it is, you know, without Marco and what he did with Team Paco. And Marco, along with Fabian, sort of revolutionized the marketing worldwide. They were two of the guys that I seen who really took this thing and said, we're going to take it straight from the States. And they start bringing in people from around the world. They had great marketing ability, you know. So Marco, you know, besides being a great dog, man, you can definitely say that Marco Suarez is a big reason that the breed is known around the world, because he was just magnificent with his website and the way he dealt with people and taking the breed all around the world. Big time guy, man. Big time guy. You have to give credit to him and Fabian. They were sort of revolutionaries at the I'm not going to be just here. I'm not going to be just in this city. You know, Fabian marketed the Remy line, one dog, one line type of thing, the tattoos on the forearm. And before you know it, Fabian was in Europe, you know, just like Marco. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, they were overseas and doing things before the ABKC was. Before we got anything established overseas and doing big things like that, Marco and Fabian had already taken the American Bully way further than the ABKC had. And this is just me not hating on the ABKC. I was a part of the ABKC at that time. You know, that the Elite Edge was the ABKC at that time. And to be honest with you, Fabian, I remember 2005, Fabian was literally, that's when he had the Blue Sage clothing line with Remy and stuff all over it. He was literally sitting in an executive suite with the Blue Sage clothing line with all kind of American Bully stuff sitting off of it. Across the hallway was New Era, Perry Ellis, you know what I mean? You had top of the line clothing lines, and he was on the same floor as their offices out there in Los Angeles, and he was doing crazy things, which I think the only thing that really derailed Fabian with that thing is that, you know, he didn't carry out the dog part as much as he should have. You know, I think the dog part was sort of carrying the line, and his vision was to go more into turning to Tommy Hilfiger when he forgot that the dogs was the main thing. But them dudes was big time, man. Don't never let anybody tell y'all any different. Remy Line and Team Paco, to a certain extent, for a while there, had become bigger than Gotti Line and Razor's Edge, even though they were both Razor's Edge dogs. Around the world, people knew Team Paco more than they knew the Elite Edge for a while. It's the same thing with Remy Line, and that's why it became a lot of hatred towards those guys, which is a whole different topic. Believe that. But it was a reason why, you know, you started to see Dave Wilson take shots at Fabian. Fabian never did anything to anybody. He just went on about his way and marketed and did his own thing. And him and Marco, they just never wanted to be a part of the Elite Edge and didn't want to be controlled by, you know, guys who later on turned out to be snakes anyway, you know. But them guys was huge, man. They was huge guys out there, and big parts of the American Bully community, you know. But going back to the dogs, you know, Oscar, big time, man. If you could ask me my top 5 breeders, I would tell you this. You know what I mean? I would say Oscar would be at the top of the board right now. Level of consistency, DNA testing, just producing champions. He's got champions everywhere. He's created a group that is manifested into its own entity now, you know what I mean, with the WBA, and just big time. I have no problem giving it up to Oscar. Now, a subtle breeder that I would tell you who really, really kills it, and everybody knows him, but it's Prats. Prats is a guy who does 2 breedings a year, it seems like, but he consistently keeps producing the same look over and over again, and they're impressive dogs, you know, from the time that he masterfully, you know, took, a Thing and bred him to Nikita, which was more like classic to, at that time, would have been considered a big extreme dog, and he made, you know, which to many people still consider as the ideal American bully in King Kamali. You know, Prats has been able to master that look over and over again, and he did have the benefit of having King Kamali and Nemesis, 2 of the best studs that ever was in the history, but he did create one, and, you know, and he did very nice things with the other one. So Prats would be number 2 on my list. Like I say, I would go with Sean True Tank, and the reason why he would fall number 3 behind Prats is because he took a long time off. Unfortunately, him and Kurt, you know, suffered with Katrina, and they lost a lot of dogs, and just a tragic thing. And it's good to see the brother back around, and he bounced back. But, you know, some of the dogs that come from his family is just amazing, you know. Sean from True Tank would definitely be, you know, right there at the top. I guess when we go to the 4th best breeder, I would have to go with definitely I would probably say Dave Wilson in that category. It's hard with Dave because the thing is, and I'm being real here, it's not any shade towards Dave. Dave was a great breeder. Dave is very knowledgeable about dogs, but you're talking about 2 different Dave Wilsons. The old school dog man Dave Wilson, who was putting breedings together and doing his thing, and he was very knowledgeable about it. And then, you know, the ABKC Dave Wilson is something totally different. And to be honest, you know, there are foundation dogs that are accredited to Dave. Now, Remy and a lot of the other edge dogs, most of those dogs are not Dave Wilson's dogs, but there are some foundation dogs, you know what I mean, that he put together, and he laid the foundation work for mostly all of us that does edge blood. He really got in there and he grinded, and Dave does deserve, you know, a lot of the credit that he gets. The problem with Dave is that it's okay to be the foundation, but you can't take credit for the house. You know what I mean? And that's one of the problems that we run into with Dave, is that, you know, he takes credit for every edge dog that ever lived. And the bottom line is the most popular dogs from the edge bloodline, he didn't have, you know, much to do with, you know. So, but Dave would be right there on the top of that. And then, you know, just my personal opinion, I would have to go back to number 5 being Marco Suarez. You know, one of the most consistent breeders. His impact overall would have to be thrown in there because he, like I say, he was a big reason that this breed went worldwide. And then some of y'all like, well, why not Fabian? Well, my thing is that if you know the Remy line, Fabian really wasn't the breeder behind Remy line. He was the organizer. He had a lot of good breeders behind him. But Marco single-handedly took one dog and made a dynasty off of it. You know, he bought certain dogs. He did a lot of good breedings. He just manipulated the situation so perfectly that he has to, in my opinion, has to be a top 5 breeder. Now, some of y'all might say, well, why don't you put yourself on that list? I think I can bang with the big boys, but I'm not satisfied with what I do. And I'm just being honest. I'm not trying to be humble. But, you know, Denzel and, you know, I have the numbers. As far as champions, I can probably beat everybody else as far as champions and all this other stuff. But my thing is I haven't been consistent. If you look at my dogs from like Biggie was a 110-pound massive dog. You know, then you go down to a little guy like Denzel, and Rome wasn't much bigger than Denzel. And if you look at Ganman is another small dog. And then you look at Mandela, and he's a bigger version of those dogs. And, you know, throughout my career, I've been able to produce the dogs, but I haven't produced a level of consistency that I think would amount for me to be considered amongst the top 5 breeders. Now, if we just talk about championship numbers and stuff like that, okay, that would be good. But even when you look at the championship dogs that I produce, you know, I've got 7 or 8 classics. I've got a ton of pockets. I've got some standards. I literally have a couple XL champions. So it's rough. What's one of Dave Wilson's productions? Cairo. Cairo is Cairo is the main Dave Wilson production. Cairo is it. You know what I mean? I think Short Shot, Little Roll. Dave has some stuff, man. Daniel Lopez, don't come on here with that pick. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I'm predicting the upset. The Browns is y'all heard it here first. The Browns gonna pull this upset Sunday. Y'all heard it here first. Y'all gonna see me drunk on the air. I might get to singing, we are the champions and all that shit. But it's a lot of history in the American bully world, and y'all laughing at me and shit. But it's a lot of history in the American bully world. And yes, Marco did produce a lot of hitters, Toshi, a lot of dogs, and he combined with a lot of people to make more hitters. But the one thing that we have to always remember is that the American bully is a breed. So some dogs get disqualified by just not being American bullies, That's the hard part. Some dogs are going to get disqualified for not being American bullies. A lot of these dogs just are not American bullies, man. They're just not American bullies. Y'all talking when the Browns pull this upset, man. I don't want to hear shit. Man. I just all want y'all to send $1 to my Cash App and just pay for my drinks for the night, because y'all owe me for all the shit I done took this season. So when we pull this monster upset, I don't want to hear nothing else. I'm just going to go live, and I ain't going to talk dogs. I'm just going to talk about the Browns. But, going forward, the thing we have to be good at is we have to be good at following these rules. And we have to learn from some of these guys. When you look at Pratt's always follow the rules, man. You know what I mean? Right, man. Come on, man. Baker don't see no ghosts. Baker smoke weed. People who smoke weed don't see ghosts. They is the ghost. But Pratt's, like we talked about Oscar, like we talked about Marco. We can learn a lot from those breeders, because the one thing that those breeders have done is they've stayed consistent and they've stayed true to the American bully vision, what the dog is supposed to be. Oscar will tell you quickly, this is not a bulldog, this is what it is. We have to learn to stick to that vision, man. It's not, I don't care to argue with all these people and stuff like that, because it's a stupid argument, because these guys got dogs that are crawling to the table literally to the table, and they want to argue. I'm done with those arguments, you know what I mean? We have to get to a point to where the truth holds a lot of weight. And the truth of the matter is, in this breed, we can all do better, but we know what the American bully is. Tight skin, pit bull on steroids. It can be 110-pound standard. I don't care. All the muscle in the world. Bring it in condition. Bring it in shredded up. But it has to have great conformation. And it has to have, first and foremost, as my guy Skip Miller said, has to have great temperament. Because temperament is the main thing, because we are sending these monsters home to people sometime when we do our breedings, and we don't want any accidents. We don't want a skittish dog to bite somebody or bite a kid, for God's sakes. Lord, please don't let that happen. But this is responsible breeding. We want our breed to be able to be promoted as a healthy breed. We want to promise people that our dogs are going to live, 10 years or more. We want to be able to make these promises, because these promises are the only way that our breed survives. The rate that we're going now, and all this nonsense that people talk and trying to beat down all of the good dogs and everything like that, and promote their BS dogs with, 14-inch rears and 12-inch fronts and breathing issues and all this shit, and they getting surgeries to fix to. That's no way to win. That's no way to win. There's no way to win for the breed. There's no way to win for our culture. None of that. So many of y'all, and I'm going to close in saying this, so many people have messaged me, and I get a lot of messages, and I thank y'all for that, honestly. I thank y'all for entrusting, my opinion on some of these topics. I don't know if we'll ever get to Westminster. I don't know if we'll ever get to AKC to accept us. And that's okay. But if we honestly want to compete on that level, I'm going to tell you what, we have to be ready to compete. Don't forget that. We have to be ready to compete. I'm going to be the first one to tell you guys right now where we're at, and I'm including myself. We're not ready to compete with those people. We're not ready to compete with the dogs that you see at Westminster. We are not. Those are some fine animals. They are put together perfectly. They move perfectly. They fit their standard perfectly. They are very refined animals. We are not ready. I hope and I pray that we are dedicated to our craft and we go forward and we do this thing and we perfect it and we can put some dogs in the ring to compete. But just right now, I'm being honest with y'all, we are not ready to compete with those people. And one of the things that upsets me the most as we go forward with this is especially all of these dumbass breeders and these extreme breeders and all this other stuff is that they keep pushing that, oh, my dog is cool. And you see the flaws. You see the bad elbows. You see the high rears. This is dumbing down our breed to the point that we can't win this way. If you put our dogs in front of educated dog people, it's going to be a problem. I'm not just talking about the TBKC, but I'm talking about, we got some AKC. One of our judges is actually an AKC person. Very nice young lady. Y'all get to meet her. But, we have to set a standard of excellence, We have to set a standard of excellence. I tell y'all this story. It is funny. When I used to fight, man, I was decent. I ain't going to tell y'all that because I'm trying to be tough, but I was actually decent in fighting. But I'm not that tall, 5'11" on a good day. And the more I fought, the more I found out that I'm not that good. And I never lost a fight, by the way, And you realized, as I went along, I realized it was levels to this, you know what I mean? I realized that I wasn't going to get any taller, My body style was not the most, you have to be special at my body style, and I wasn't special, Now, the average person, I knock them the fuck out. But in a regular ring, being, 5'11", 225, 230 pounds, is not really the best type of body to be a fighter in the heavyweight class, So I quit. And I'm telling y'all, we are that same way right now. That, in our it's not that some of these dogs aren't good. But some of these dogs are just not ready. Some of these dogs are just not a complete dog. And Bobo put up a post about that earlier. Some of these dogs need a lot of work. Some of these dogs need minor details. But y'all have to understand, if you jump in the ring with the best Dobermans in the world, guess what? They've already worked out the minor details. The best Rotties in the world, they've already worked out the minor details. You see the classes that we see the best dogs at Westminster, and we're like, ooh, yeah. But it's a class below that we never get to see on TV where all of the best Rotties or Dobermans or Giant Schnauzers or Pharaoh Hounds or whatever it may be, they compete to get to that next level. And the craziest part about it is all of those dogs are pretty much deserving to go to the next level. We don't have that yet. Right now, in our whole community, we will be searching for a couple dogs that could go in there and compete at their level. And that's crazy considering that we got tens of thousands of dogs in this community. If we want to get there, we have to get there, we have to get there at a high level. I'm reading the message. Honestly, I'm going to tell you, the registries don't have to support each other. And I've dealt with that battle too, that the registries have to. No, we don't. And the reason why is just like everything else. At some point in time, somebody has to take the lead and somebody has to say everybody else is full of shit. One of these registries is going to have to take the lead and say that everybody else is full of shit. Somebody's going to have to take the reins and say, you know what, all of the nonsense that you're allowing, I'm not going to allow. We're going to clean this up. Because what we've seen as far as the registries go is a long history of failures. No matter which way we look at it, the other registries shouldn't agree with the ABKC because they've been around a long time, because being around a long time doesn't make you a success. If you've been around a long time and things have been fucked up for a long time, that means you've been fucked up for a long time. And that shows, further that you might not be a leader. We need one registry, and hopefully that happens over the next few years, that really, really leads the charge for the type of dogs that can be accepted by the AKC and other registries around the world. That's when we'll have a breed. Right now, what we're seeing is we're seeing people who are trying to sell things. I'm just being honest with you. In the American Bully community especially, the trend is if a dog gets popular, it's acceptable. We even make classes for them. We make concessions for them. You know, we've seen that the best dogs in the American Bully community that get popular, and I'm not talking about quality-wise, they'll win championships regardless of some of the most crazy flaws, like you have Rocco. I mean, and this is being serious. I'm not just picking on Rocco, but I'm telling you. And let me say this, because some of y'all, somebody questioned me on that. Somebody said, you said you like Rocco. I do. Just seeing Rocco as a dog, I'm like, Rocco is pretty cool, man. You know? I mean, he's got a big old head, big bone. He's a big dog, but, you know, he reminds me of an American Bulldog, you know? He has those features. Now, when I go into my judge mode and I have to pinpoint things, his front end movement is not the greatest. His top line is definitely off because of his high rear. His rear end movement is not the greatest. He has a kink tail, and you know what I'm saying, he has to be a lot of times sort of drug around the ring because he doesn't want to perform. His overall movement is not good. How do you make this a nationals champion? It's because the dog was popular and that you know, they selling a lot of puppies off the dog. So, hey, this would be a great face to push over in Europe because a lot of people in the States are spending a lot of money. That was the move. It wasn't because it was a quality dog. Now, I will put to you this. You look at Ruger. Y'all go, if y'all don't know who Ruger is, you know it's Raging Bulls Ruger. Look at that dog. Look at Mufasa. You know, look at Bistro. And Bistro does have the underbite in the feet, but they wrote that into the standard that pockets were allowed to have that. But I bring up those three dogs in particular, Mufasa, Bistro, and Ruger, as these are three dogs that Ruger was definitely one of the nicest dogs in the breed's history. The dog is just gorgeous. Incredible dog. Never won a nationals with the ABKC. You know what I mean? Didn't do too well with the ABKC in general. Now then you turn around and you look at Bistro. Bistro won every show everywhere, but Bistro never won a nationals. Mufasa breaks all those records. Didn't get the nationals. Got screwed at nationals. And why I say this is because that's where the politics come in. It makes no sense that you can have dogs dominate all year long, and when we get to a certain point, we just pick a dog out of nowhere that you can see the flaws and you can see that this is an inferior product to the dog that we have, and we push certain agendas. This is why the breed is not going anywhere. We need to push the dogs. Not to say that these dogs automatically get a win. Excuse me. But the one thing we say is that we have to finally, you know, get to a point to where the best dogs win. Luger is a bad dog, by the way, BJ Howard. Bad dog. Bad dog. Bad dog. I love that dog. But, you know, it's sad that we have seen our greatest dogs over the years not be pushed. And the funniest part about it is we don't see our best dogs pushed, but we see train wreck dogs pushed. It's no way in our society right now that a dog like Rocco should be getting pushed more than Mufasa. It's stupid. Rocco couldn't even come close to winning in the ring with Mufasa. Period. If we were judging this thing correctly, Rocco couldn't beat the bear. Rocco couldn't beat Mufasa. And to be honest, we seen Mr. Beans, who was even far worse. Mr. Beans should have been a disqualification. But we've seen that pushed. This is where the breeders went wrong at, because popularity has taken over common sense, integrity, and let's just say dignity inside of our breed. And if we don't get back to pushing real American bullies, the breed will go extinct. It's just that simple. A lot of people have beautiful, real American bullies, and what we're saying is that, you know, pardon the pun, but we're being bullied. You know, we're being bullied and it's stuffed down our throats to accept dogs that we know don't even fit inside of our breed. It's just that simple. People need to step up, and people need to force the hand of whatever registries they're going to deal with to judge these shows correctly. You know, it's just that simple. If people don't have the chutzpah to to face some of these people who talk shit and to go forward in a manner that, hey, I'm not taking your BS. My dog is a great dog. This is a true American bully, and stand up for the breed will go extinct. It should never be just one or two people who are willing to say this. Our community needs to stand up no matter which registry you register in and talk about these things, that the dogs need to be healthy. The dogs need to be clean. What are these bulldogs that y'all pulling out left and right and saying that they're American bullies? If people can't stand up and say these things, the real American bully will eventually go extinct in most registries. It won't go extinct in the TBKC because, me and Danny control that, and we will make sure that the dogs are represented properly. But as a community for the last couple of years, we allowed Miyagi, obviously not an American bully. We allowed Dax, Dax, I don't care who gets in their feelings. Dax obviously was not an American bully. He didn't fit the standard. That's why they had to write a new standard. That in itself tells you that he didn't fit a standard. They wrote a standard for Dax. You know what I mean? They literally wrote a standard for Dax. He didn't fit it. So we continue to allow dogs that don't fit the standard. Then now it's to the point where, you know what, we just gonna break all the rules and we'll put an American bulldog in there with cropped ears, or English bulldog in there with cropped ears, or we'll start allowing bullseye blood and Miyagi blood. What we're seeing is a lot, man. It makes me somewhat upset, and at the same time somewhat sad, because so much work went into the American bully before people jumped on the train. A lot of people, man, we grinded hard as fuck for this breed. It was a lot of passion. It was a lot of what we thought was friendships. A lot of people worked their asses off to make the American bully. We took so much pride in this shit. So many t-shirts, so many flights, so much shit. And then just to see people just flush that down the toilet because they want a couple dollars. And I tell you, if you took me back, man, 20 years, and you asked me how this was going to end, I would have never thought that it would have been Dave that ended up being the biggest sellout. Because when I met Dave, Dave was the most passionate person about the breed, and he didn't care about money. Dave used to give away dogs, literally. And to see him turn into the biggest sellout in the breed and not even stand up for the breed at all and just allow everything is sad, man. But, we got our crew who gonna do the right thing, and we'll get it together. I promise y'all that, man. Don't y'all give up. We'll get this shit together. But breed good, healthy, clean dogs. You can have a 100-pound clean dog. There's examples out there, But we have to do it. If we don't do it, y'all can't cry about it in 5-10 years when it's no real American bullies and everything look like bulldog mixes and they dying in 2 years. Y'all can't cry then. But I know we got enough people to make this work. But man, I done talked to y'all way longer than I thought I would, but I love y'all, so I always get in these conversations and can't get out. But okay. Last topic, I just seen somebody say the bear. I love the bear's look. I love the bear's pedigree for the most part. I'm going to tell you, I've seen some of his productions that I like, and being honest, I've seen some of his productions that are pulling more towards the terrier side. Excuse me. One thing I'll say about the bear is that he's one of the dogs that I believe he is a producer. But the one thing the bear has to, people who breed to the bear and the bear's owners have to find out is what is the dogs that he goes with. Every stud is not a universal stud. Some studs just click with certain bloods, The Rock of Rock and Ruby fame. The Rock pretty much only go Astros, baby. Go Astros. Yeah, since I'm damn near a Houstoner now, I gotta go with the Stros in these damn World Series. But certain studs only go good with certain bloods, and I think he might be one of those studs that really doesn't do well with every blood. You get some studs that it seems like you put them to anything and they throw they look. Paco is one of those dogs. But the bear, I think he is a producer. I think he can do some good things, but he has to be put to certain dogs, and then he'll throw his look and he'll give you everything that he wants. I think the bear would go very well with Paco blood. From his pedigree and the way it needs to be rounded out, I think he would be excellent to do a lot of Paco blood breedings, and you probably would see the best out of the bear. But that's just my theory on it. But we'll see, man. But I think the bear is a great example of an American bully. He's not, perfect, of course, which any of the dogs aren't. But the bear is beautiful, man. Beautiful dog. Very deserving of his Nationals win. I thought he should have won the year before and been the first two-timer. But maybe he'll do it this year. But hey, y'all, man, I got 500 pounds that's waiting on me in here to try to crush my chest. So if y'all don't hear from me, y'all know the 500 pounds won. But, but man, I tell y'all what, man, it's a blessing. TBKC is back in effect. More shows, more fun. Looking forward to seeing y'all out there. Come out there. Let's evaluate some dogs. Let's get into it. I agree with you, Steven. Money is the reason that these dogs, are struggling. I won't say we won't prevail, but this is part of the struggle. But until, man, hey, Remy could make a Chihuahua bully. You got that right. But until next time, man, y'all think about this. And I finish everyone with this, but y'all think about this, man. We coming up on the holiday season. It's the hardest time of the year for people, man. The most suicides from depression is during this time of the year. And a lot of other issues seem to come around this time of the year. You never know what your family members, your loved ones is going through. We all get busy in life. Reach out to your people and let them know you love them. Have that long conversation. Make sure their head is in the right place and just let them know that they got somebody in case things aren't going too well, because this is a very, very sort of dangerous time of the year, man, and we all got enough time to make a phone call if we choose to. Hey, God bless y'all, man. I'll catch up with y'all later. It's been a pleasure. Much love. Peace.